I was trying to think of a sob story for the waitress when a rumble shook the whole building. A motorcycle the size of a baby elephant had pulled up to the curb. All conversation in the diner stopped. The motorcycle's headlight glared red. Its gas tank had flames painted on it and a shotgun holster riveted on either side, complete with the shotguns. The seat was leather, but the leather looked like, well, Caucasian human skin. The guy on the bike would have made pro wrestlers run for mama. He was dressed in a red muscle shirt and black jeans and a black leather duster with a hunting knife strapped to his thigh. He wore red wraparound shades, and he had the cruelest, most brutal face I'd ever seen. Handsome, I guess, but wicked, with an oily black crew cut and cheeks that were scarred from many, many fights. The weird thing was, I felt like I'd seen his face somewhere before. As he walked into the diner, a hot, dry wind blew through the place. All the people rose as if they were hypnotized, but the biker waved his hand dismissively, and they all sat down again. Everybody went back to their conversations. The waitress blinked as if somebody had just pressed the rewind button on her brain. She asked us again, "You kids have money to pay for it?" The biker said, "It's on me." He slid into our booth, which was way too small for him, and crowded Annabeth against the window. He looked up at the waitress who was gaping at him and said, "Are you still here?" He pointed at her and she stiffened. She turned as if she'd been spun around and marched back towards the kitchen. The biker looked at me. I couldn't see the eyes behind the red shades, but bad feelings started boiling in my stomach. Anger, resentment, bitterness. I wanted to hit a wall. I wanted to pick a fight with somebody. Who did this guy think he was? He gave me a wicked grin. "So, you're old Seaweed's kid, huh?" I should have been surprised, or scared, but instead, I felt like I was looking at my stepdad, Gabe. I wanted to rip this guy's heads off. "What is it to you?" Annabeth's eyes flashed a warning. "Percy, this is..." The biker raised a hand. "It's okay. I don't mind a little attitude, as long as you remember who's the boss. You know who I am, little cousin?" Then it struck me why this guy looked familiar. He had the same vicious sneer as some of the kids at Camp Half-Blood, the ones from Cabin 5. "You're Clarice's dad," I said. "Ares, god of war." Ares grinned and took off his shades. Where his eyes should have been, there was only fire. Empty sockets glowing with miniature nuclear explosions. "That's right, punk. I heard you broke Clarice's spear." "She was asking for it." "Probably. That's cool. I don't fight my kids' fights, you know. What I'm here for, I heard you were in town. I got a little proposition for you." The waitress came back with heaping trays of food. Cheeseburgers, fries, onion rings, and chocolate shakes. Ares handed her a few golden drachma. She looked nervously at the coins. "But these aren't..." Ares pulled out his huge knife and started cleaning his fingernails. "Problem, sweetheart?" The waitress swallowed, and then left with the gold. "You can't do that," I told Ares. "You can't just threaten people with a knife." Ares laughed. "Are you kidding? I love this country. Best place since Sparta. Don't you carry a weapon, punk? You should. Dangerous world out there. Which brings me to my proposition. I need you to do me a favor." "What favor could I do for a god?" "Something a god doesn't have time for to do himself. It's nothing much. I left my shield in an abandoned water park here in town. I was going on a little date with my girlfriend. We were interrupted. I left my shield behind. I want you to fetch it for me." "Why don't you just go back and get it yourself?" The fire in his eyes glowed a little hotter. "Why don't I turn you into a prairie dog and run you over with my Harley? 'Cause I don't feel like it. A god has given you the opportunity to prove yourself, Percy Jackson. Will you prove yourself a coward?" He leaned forward. "Or maybe you only fight when there's a river to dive into so your daddy can protect you." I wanted to punch this guy, but somehow I knew he was waiting for that. Ares' power was causing my anger. He'd love it if I attacked. I didn't want to give him the satisfaction. "We're not interested," I said. "We've already got a quest." Ares' fiery eyes made me see things I didn't want to see. Blood and smoke and corpses on the battlefield. "I know all about your quest, punk. When the item was first stolen, Zeus sent his best looking for it. Apollo, Athena, Artemis, and me, naturally. If I couldn't sniff out a weapon that powerful..." He licked his lips as if the very thought of the Master Bolt made him hungry. "Well, if I couldn't find it, you got no hope. Nevertheless, I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt. Your dad and I go way back. After all, I'm the one who told him my suspicions about old corpse breath." "You told him Hades stole the bolt?" "Sure. Framing somebody to start a war, oldest trick in the book. I recognized it immediately. In a way, you got me to thank for your little quest." "Thanks," I grumbled. "Hey, I'm a generous guy. You just do my little job, and I'll help you on your way. I'll arrange a ride west for you and your friends. We're doing fine on our own. Yeah, right. No money, no wheels, no clue what you're up against. Help me out, and maybe I'll tell you something you need to know. Something about your mom.